Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. And as you know, in last few videos we have covered various fuzzers like AFL, honk fuzz or WinAFL, etc. And in this video today we are going to cover a fuzzing library, which is actually not a fuzzer, but it is a library by using which you can create your own custom fuzzers. So if you have used various fuzzers like AFL or honk fuzz or live fuzzer, then you might notice that all these are standalone fuzzer. Basically you get a binary, a main binary, which is responsible for doing all the fuzzing related operation, like creating the input file, then running your program, and then observing it for any crashes or for any new code paths, and then saving the crashes. So you basically get one single binary file which does all this operation. And there are certain limitation for that. So if you want to make some changes, you basically ended up doing changes to our entire binary instead of changing a single component. So also they don't provide you much flexibility or much options. Say for example, if you want to do in-memory fuzzing, or if you want to use any custom mutator, everything is tied up together. So that actually makes it very difficult if you want to do any change to such fuzzers. So to overcome this problem, there has been a new fuzzing library which is called libafl, and the full form of libafl is AFL actually stands here for advanced fuzzing library rather than American fuzzy load, which we all are comfortable with if you have seen my previous videos. So don't get confused by AFL and libafl. These two are kind of different things. Yeah, the names are different. AFL is American Fuzzy Loop, while libafl means Advanced Fuzzing Library. So this library is basically, it consists of various components, and the idea behind is that you get a Lego like set where you take each and every component which you want to use, and based on that you build your own fuzzer. So this is mostly for the people who want to build their own fuzzer, who want to do certain experiment with their own fuzzer, who like to customize their fuzzer. And it actually offers you a lot of flexibilities. There are a lot of options which you can use. So in this video we are going to see what is libafl, what are the different uh, components or different terminology you will see, like observer or executor, etc. We'll discuss that. And we will keep this video simple since this is our first video, so I don't want to go into much deep, like we'll not be able to build our own fuzzer in this video, but we'll see it in a later stage in later videos. So in this video we'll only see how can we compile and install libafl, what are the prerequisite, and where to find some documentation for that, and what are the different components, what is the terminology over here. So to start with, libafl has been by Dominic and Andrea Floridi, and they have actually presented it at a conference of others like Lego. So it has been given at RC3 conference, and this video is available on YouTube. So you can basically search for libafl on YouTube and you will come across this video. So I will recommend you to go through this video in case you want to know much finer details about libafl, what are the motivation, different components. I will suggest you to go through this video once. And apart from that, there is one or two blog article which has been written by Epi. So he has written two blog posts as of now. As I'm creating this video, I can see two blog posts written by him. And what he has done is that he has taken fuzzing 101 exercises which has been created by Antonio Morales, and he tried to fuzz that using libafl. So he wrote one folk server based fuzzer, and he fuzzed this library to find some issues with that. So you can go through this blog post as well. The URL is mentioned over here, that is epi052.gitlab.io note to self. So you can basically search for this and will come across this. So you can go through that. He has given a decent overview, very nice overview I will say, about libafl and how can you set up xpdf and how can you fuzz using libafl. So you can go through that, and we will first see how can we install libafl and what are the prerequisites for that. So libafl is hosted on GitHub, so the URL is this one, github.com/afl++/libafl, and they have already given instruction how can you compile and install. You can see getting started over here. So what we are going to see now is we will go ahead and install libafl on our VM, and then we will compile it. So the first thing we need to do is we need to git clone that. For that we need to use this command, that is git clone and the URL that for libafl. So let's copy that, and inside our VM we can simply paste this command. So that is git clone and libafl URL. So in my case I have already cloned this repo, so I'm getting this error, but in your case if you don't have it cloned, you can simply run that command. And once you clone this repo, what you can do is that you need to go to that directory, libafl directory, and you have to run this command, that is cargo // release. So this has been written in Rust, and you will require two dependency before you can run this command. The first one is that you need to install Rust. So if you go to the rust-lang.org tools install this website, you will get this command where you can actually install Rust by simply running this command. The installation instructions are mentioned over here, so you can simply copy this command and you can actually paste it on your system. So that will actually install Rust on your system, and in my case I already have it installed, so I'm canceling it. I don't need to install it again. And another dependency you need to install is you need to install clang. So for that you can run this command, that is sudo apt install clang 11. I'm going to use clang 11 version, but if you want you can use higher end like clang 12 or something lower like clang 10 as well. So these two are the dependencies which you need to install, Rust and clang. And after you install these two dependencies and you have git clone libafl on your system, you can simply do a cd libafl, and then you can simply type this command, this cargo build and release. So let's clean it first. Okay, and now we will run cargo build / release. So what this command will do is that it will compile all the dependencies for libafl and it will install it on your system. So it will take few seconds, maybe a minute or so, to compile everything and all on your system. You can see it is still compiling, so it will take few more seconds. Let's wait. Okay, it has compiled this libafl on our system, and now since we don't know much about libafl, what we can do is that we need to go through some documents. So luckily libafl comes with good documentation, and for that we need to use a utility called mdbook. So if you don't have it installed, you can basically install it by running this command, that is cargo install mdbook. So in my case I have already installed, but in your case it may take few seconds to install, and you might need to add the binaries to your path. So I will just show you what you can do. In my case I'm using ZSH shell. If you are using bash or something, just open that bash rc file. So I've opened this .zsh.rc file, and you need to add this path, that is /home kali and .cargo.bin. So basically the .cargo.bin path, you need to add it in your path so that it can find this mdbook. Otherwise you might get some error that the file not found or something like that. So after you have installed mdbook, you actually need to compile the documentation for this. So for that you can go to docs directory inside your libafl folder, and you can type a command, that is cargo docs. cargo doc actually. So you can see that it is compiling different docs for this. And what it will do is that basically after it has compiled this documentation, you can simply use mdbook, which will run a local web server on your system and browse it through your browser. So that way you can access all the libafl documentation. It will take some time, maybe few seconds or a minute to wait. Okay, so you can see that it has compiled our documentation over here, and now we simply need to do mdbook and serve. What it will do is that it will start one web server on your machine, and you can access it by that is localhost and port is 3000. So I opened this URL, that is localhost and port 3000. So this is the documentation for libafl, and I think it is pretty decent document. You can actually go through that and can learn various terminology for that. So we will simply go to setup. Getting started, we'll go to the setup, and I think we don't need to do anything. We have done everything which is required to get it compiled and get it working on our system. So we have done git clone on our system, we have installed clang, and we have installed Rust, and we have libafl installed on our system. So we have done cargo build / release. It will basically create a release build. This is a Rust command, and right now we are not going to build example further. We will see it in later videos, but before we move forward with this, there are some core concepts, or there is some terminology which we need to understand. So these are mentioned over here like core concept. If you go to this link, there are like different concepts like observer or executor, feedback, input, etc. So I will suggest you to go through that, but I will try my best to explain it in a short form. So I have created this small whiteboard kind of thing. So libafl, as I mentioned, is consist of different components, and you need to combine this component like you have different Lego blocks. You need to combine them and create something. So it consists of various blocks. You can see like there is one that is called observer. Observer is nothing but it will basically simply provide some information at the runtime, like say you have one coverage map, right? So how many coverage, what is the coverage percentage, or that is what observer will do. Then executor, so executor is responsible for executing a target and any other operations. Say for example, if you want to write some input, or if you want to pass some argument to your program, then this has been taken by executor. Then there is another component that is called feedback. So feedback, basically what it does is that it is responsible for giving outcome of execution. Say you run your program and it some input triggers a new code path, then that feedback will be provided to your fuzzer so that it can act accordingly. Or say some input causes a crash in your program, so that feedback that this input is causing a crash, that feedback will be provided to your fuzzer so that it can act upon that. And then there is another component that is input. So input is basically nothing, in simple time it is program input, the input which you are giving to your program. And then there is another component that is corpus. So it is like a fuzzing corpus, and corpus can be on disk corpus or it can be in memory corpus. So if you want to have some performance improvement, then you need to use in memory corpus, because that will avoid all the read-write operation on the disk. But in case you want to use disk on disk corpus, you can use that as well. So these are the different component, different ways you can use corpus in libafl. And then there is another component that is called mutator. So mutator is nothing but different mutation strategies like bit flip, byte flip, havoc, etc. for an input. And another component will be generator. So it is basically a test case generator. If you want to generate some test case, some random bytes, and you can use that. That will be called as a generator. And the last one is stage. So stage means operation on a single test case. Say if you are trimming your input, then that will be a stage. Or if you are like say doing some analysis, or you are like doing some splice, mutate, or something like that, and that will be stage. Basically whatever operation is happening on a input is called a stage. So these are the different components for libafl, and all these are implemented as a small you can say crates or small libraries, you can say, which you can import in your fuzzer. You can customize that as per your needs, and as we go forward we'll learn about that. But right now I'm going to stop this video over here. Next video what we'll see is that how can we create a simple fork server based fuzzer to fuzz our Daml Enable C program. We'll basically use the example given in libfuzzer. The fork server example, we will use it, we will do some changes, and we will fuzz our Daml Enable C program. So I'm not going to cover that in this video because it will become too large. So at this stage what you can do is that you can go to the documentation, you can install libfuzzer at your end, and you can go to the fuzzing directory. You can see what are the different fuzzer which are available over here. You can probably go through the blog posts and videos which I have mentioned. If you are interested, you can go to the fuzzers directly, and you can see there are various fuzzers, so you can just go through that. And I hope that in this video you have learned how can you install and compile libfuzzer, and what are the different components for that. And till next video, stay safe, goodbye.